Grace and peace. I'm Brian Musser, the Baptist Campus Minister at Drexel University, and this is Peace and Power Christian Fellowship, the peace of Jesus Christ to change your life, the power of the Holy Spirit to change the world. And we are starting our brand new series called Beautiful Theology, looking at the truths of God through the lens of poetry. This is the first week in our study in the Psalms and the second video, and we are going to start by looking at Psalm 1. Last video we did an introduction to the entire book of Psalms, just talking about structure, author, categories, and some other introductory ideas. This way we are going to dive straight into the introductory psalm. And Psalm 1 sets us up with the way things should be. And as that psalm that describes the way we should be personally, it actually creates the foundational worldview, the foundational idea that all the other psalms are kind of leveraged against. Either it's agreeing with Psalm 1 and moving it on from Psalm 1, or it's looking at Psalm 1 and saying, but this is happening right now. So Psalm 1 is the introductory psalm to the entire book of Psalms. So let's dive right into it and look at it. This is going to be from the English Standard Version. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of the sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. The wicked are not so, but they are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore, the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. So basic Psalm 1 can be summed up into either one or two sentences. The way of the righteous will prosper under the guidance of the Lord. The way of the wicked will fail under the judgment of God. And this idea is basically creating a Hebrew poem about the Deuteronomic principle that if you obey, you will be blessed. If you disobey, you will be cursed. And look at how it does this. Right after the Shema, the great "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one," Deuteronomy 6:7 puts in context what they should do about the great teaching of loving the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength. And Psalm 1 puts it in this way, but Deuteronomy 6:7 says, "You shall teach them diligently to your children. You should talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise." So, as we saw that the wise person, the righteous person, doesn't sit, doesn't walk, doesn't stand. This is drawing from Deuteronomy 6:7 of where you should. When you sit, you should teach. When you walk, you should teach the way of God. When you lie down and when you rise up, which standing is kind of the middle thing between those two. When you do those things, when you stand, when you walk, when you sit, the law of the Lord should be on you, not the way of the scoffers, not the way of the wicked. So this is kind of building off of the Deuteronomic principle. Obedience is going to be blessed. It's the foundational idea in Judaism, and this is a Hebrew poem praising that idea, laying that foundational groundwork for what they believe. Moving forward, and what happens if you obey? What's that blessing look like? It's a tree planted by water and flourishing. Joshua 1:8 says it this way: "This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate it on day and night. We see that repeated in Psalm 1, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written, for then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Joshua 1:8 and Psalm 1:2 use meditate in reference to the Torah, and they're the only ones. A lot of them talk about meditating on the Lord or meditating on the Lord's way. Only Joshua 1:8 and Psalm 1:2 talk about meditating on the Torah, the book of the law of the Lord. So we can see that this meditating on it day and night is how you get prosperous, building off of Deuteronomy, turning to Joshua 1. When you get into the land, how do you thrive in the land? You meditate on the law of the Lord. And what does this thriving look like? Jeremiah 17:7-8 in a prophetic book. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is in the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of the drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. So we see this idea in Psalm 1 that if you meditate on the law of the Lord, if you do the righteous, you will be blessed like a tree planted by water. If you don't, you will be judged. We see that in Deuteronomy, we see that in Joshua, we see this idea in Jeremiah. But this psalm puts it in kind of a way you can use it in a worship service. It takes these truths from the Old Testament and makes them into a song that people can memorize, into a poem that can be repeated, into a way that can just get inside your head and be used to think through this idea more and more. It's laying the foundation for the way your life should be. Psalm 1 offers a programmatic picture of the life of a blessed person, seemingly based on an exegesis of the Great Commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Meditate on his word day and night. Don't teach it to your children when you sit, walk, and stand. Don't listen to the wicked people when you sit, walk, and stand. Just basically this idea, Psalm 1 is a poetic picture of what it would look like to be faithful to the Great Commandment. Now, some questions here. This is the first psalm. Do you think it was significant, and what significance is that? That it was chosen to just lead you out the bat. And what type of tone does Psalm 1 set for the entire book of Psalms? So they start with this psalm. This is a picture that is just describing the picture of what faithful Old Testament life would look like. And that's Psalm 1. They put it first for a reason. How do you think that is significant? Answer that down in the questions. I love to hear your comments about it. And what type of tone does it set for the rest of the Psalms? How do you think the other Psalms will be playing off of Psalm 1? Do they? Are these Psalms related to each other? And if so, how? Moving forward, as always, there are 3 ways to join. Check out the calendar at peaceandpower@drexel.wordpress.com to see the schedule of when these things are actually happening. There is an in-person meeting Sunday nights at 5 p.m., and that's on campus in the JEMIC. Then live Monday nights, 7 p.m. via Zoom. That link will be posted in the description below. And as always, there are these weekly wrap-ups on the WordPress webpage and YouTube videos throughout. I am all over the social media: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, WordPress, YouTube. Those links are in the description. Hopefully that gave you a good idea of what Psalm 1 is talking about and how it actually lays the foundation for the entire Psalms. And now that we've looked at Psalm 1 and this idea of what it means to be righteous versus what it means to be wicked, that gives us a foundation for studying the other Psalms as well. Look forward to continue this conversation with you in the future. Talk to you soon.